In this video we're going to figure out what the derivative is of inverse cosine of x. Now let's start by writing y is equal to inverse cosine of x. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is take the cosine of both sides of this equation. Now this cosine and this inverse cosine cancel each other out, so we're just left with cosine of y equals x. At this point what we're going to want to do is differentiate both sides of this equation with respect to x, so let's just do that up here. We're going to have the derivative with respect to x of cosine of y equal to the derivative of x with respect to x. So notice here we have a function in terms of y and we want to differentiate with respect to x, so we're going to have to implicitly differentiate. Now the derivative of cosine of y is minus sine of y, and we're going to have to multiply by dy over dx, and that's going to be equal to 1 as the derivative of x with respect to x is just 1. Now let's just go ahead and divide by minus sine of y. So these two cancel. And I'm just moving the negative sign up top. So at this point we're going to want to make use of the following identity. Cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x equals 1. Now let's just rewrite this in terms of y. So we have cosine squared of y plus sine squared of y equal to 1. So what we want to do here is make sine of y the subject of this equation here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to subtract cosine squared of y from both sides. We're just left with sine squared of y equals 1 minus cosine squared of y. Now let's take the square root of both sides. So we have sine of y equals the square root of 1 minus cosine squared of y. We want to substitute this value here into our equation up here for sine of y. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to have dy over dx equals minus 1 over the square root of 1 minus cosine squared of y. Now remember, right here we wrote cosine of y is equal to x. Let's square both sides of this equation, and now we're going to substitute this value here into this equation for cosine squared of y. So we have the derivative of y with respect to x equals minus 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared, and that's the answer.